Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Claire Longo. I am a mathematician and an AI researcher here at Comet. And I'm here today with Jyoti. She is a director of application development at ADP, and she's leading a global team working on GenAI projects. She's joining us today to talk us through her journey as a woman in tech and AI, and also talk us through how she's approaching leading AI projects and global teams and working through kind of cutting through the hype to deliver really successful projects. So I'm really excited to have her on today. I'm going to kick this off by passing it over to Jyoti to give us a quick introduction of herself.
Thank you so much. And I would start from here. My name is Jyoti, and I am a director of application development in ADP with over 18 years of experience in the IT world, starting as a full stack developer and now a leader into the AI. So my journey has been with challenges and learnings and mentorship. So I'm so happy and delighted to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. So the way we're going to structure this is I have a list of questions that I'm going to talk us through, and we'll just keep it as a casual conversation. I think myself and the audience has so much to learn from you and your experience here. So I just want to allow for some natural conversation here, but I'll go through our questions to kind of guide the conversation. And to kick things off, I would love to hear a little bit more about your career journey. It sounds like you're in a really amazing place right now, but tell us a little bit about that journey to get there. How did you really navigate your way to become a leader in the AI space?
That's a good question. So I started my career journey deeply rooted in, development, back end, front end, full stack, data analytics, and over time naturally gravitated towards emerging technologies that turn data into actionable intelligence. So my journey in AI was driven by a desire to build solutions that go beyond dashboard to system that understands, adapt, and generate value on their own. Leadership in AI is a space for me that has been about constant learning, staying curious, and bringing a human first perspective to deeply technical problems. So, all of these, along with my technical expertise, have actually emerged into my leadership role.
That's awesome to hear. I feel like I've heard that story before where people kind of follow their passion and they end up in leadership. So it's really good to hear. You mentioned something about like continuous learning that I wanted to click on there, because that's something that I've experienced is very important working in AI because there's new methods coming out all the time. We have to stay on top of it. I'd love to hear a little bit, just going a little bit off topic, but tell us how you continue to learn on the job, because it's something I feel our audience is probably also struggling with.
Yeah. So, learning from my job is actually mentoring the team, learning from them as well, and from the outside world as well. So there are a lot of ideas that are coming from the different domain of the AI. And my current team is a mix of data scientists, machine learning engineers, product thinkers, and domain experts. So all of them are focused on building one vision that ADP has. So navigating through different collaborative teams actually helps me, and I try to make sure that I am right on track,
Yeah.
learning what's going on in the AI world outside as well. So major focus is like ensuring the models that we are building are grounded in business values while being secure, explainable, scalable. So these are a lot of learnings that I get to do each and every day. Not every day is same, but they're always something that teaches me.
That's fantastic. I always feel like the best way to learn is just to do things, just build things, and you're building with a great team around
Mhm.
you, so you have people to learn from. That's great. Awesome. Well, let's dig in a little bit into your leadership philosophy. I think leading Gen AI teams is very tricky because you're leading people through the innovation of this emerging technology. I'd love to hear a little bit about your core philosophy for leading these kinds of teams. What's your mindset towards
Yeah.
that?
So my philosophy is to lead with clarity and empathy. I make sure there is a very clear directions given on what the team needs to do, what I need to do. So, because the Gen AI is evolving fast, so it's essential to create a culture where experimentation is encouraged, failures are seen as learning opportunities, and ethics are front and center. So, I focus on empowering the team to stay agile, transparent, and aligned with a mission to create real impact and not just the hype. So, we need to create a motivating environment. So, I believe in not motivating the individuals. I believe in creating a motivating environment where they feel like they have a space where they can share the values, where the failures will not be something that would be looked upon. They would be encouraged to do more while they are still focused on what needs to be done.
Absolutely. Experimentation is just the core of AI right now because we're trying out all these new technologies. And if we're afraid to speak up or afraid to fail, we can't really experiment. So
Hmm.
that's definitely a good culture to make sure you have on your teams there.
Yeah.
Um, Great. Well, moving to the next question here, really around the central skills and mindsets for working in AI. I'm curious what key skills or mindsets or really traits you look for in your team members who are going to be working on these Gen AI teams. And then once you do have these folks on your team, how do you assist them in their growth?
Yeah. So that's a really interesting question that is so important for leaders nowadays,
Yeah.
because in the previous world before AI it was all technology, and that was correct at that time because it was all the human who were doing the technical code. Currently it's beyond technical proficiency, so I looked for curiosity,
Hmm.
adaptability, and ethical intuition. So the ability to ask the right question is just as important as the coding skill. What are we doing for this? Why are we doing for this? Are we doing right? These are so important right now in the GenAI world. So I support team growth by encouraging them cross-functional learning, creating
Yeah.
safe spaces for collaboration, giving people the opportunities to lead projects that stretches their capabilities. So these are some of the essential skills and mindset that I have changed according to the GenAI world.
Good, good. That is so important because having that curiosity will help us kind of navigate learning the new technology and also just making sure we're delivering something that's of high quality, looking maybe a little bit beyond the scope, curious to learn more than what we're actually just working on can help us kind of improve things. I've definitely experienced that myself.
Hmm.
Amazing. I know earlier when we met, you mentioned that you're involved in mentoring, and I know you've been doing some mentoring for like women in tech and that kind of thing. I love that. It's something I try to do myself
Hmm.
as well. I'd love to hear what inspired you to get involved as a mentor and what kind of impact you've seen. Maybe you have some fun success stories to share with us.
Sure. So mentorship has been a key part of my own journey. When I was lost, there are mentors who actually guided me. So now at this point where I am, there are other women who look upon me and they are so curious to know how I got over here. And I am so passionate about paying it forward. I have seen firsthand how mentorship can accelerate confidence and career transition, especially for women
Yeah.
and underrepresented voices in tech. I have seen for myself how I have changed, how I was motivated to ask because somebody told me, knock at the door, there will be somebody who will answer it. And I have experienced it firsthand. When somebody answers it, when somebody shares on how their journey was done, it really impacts you because you look upon them, you learn new things which were not there in your vision, which didn't even know. So it's not just about technical skills, it's about helping people what's possible for themselves. So I try to mentor, I try to speak at some places on how I have navigated my career. There are women over there which looks upon you and they get so
Yeah.
much motivated and they feel like, oh, let me try this. It definitely works for them. So it's a message to everybody over here: mentor the people, like please pass on, so that there are some other who are going to benefit from it. So, and for the others, try to look for mentors, try to ask people. Maybe some might be busy, some might be really helpful to you, but don't stop when somebody says no.
Absolutely. Don't stop when somebody says no. I've found that the mentorship connection has to be somewhat natural too. Like you can't force it.
Yes,
So if you reach out
yes,
to a mentor and it just doesn't feel like the right vibe, that's okay. You'll find somebody else. I encourage
yes,
people not don't stop looking. Like keep looking for those connections. Um,
yes.
yeah.
That's fine. That is absolutely fine. And I do tell to uh, the women out there, maybe at some phase of your time, some mentors might be useful to you.
Hmm.
But then as your track changes, it's okay. Find another mentors. As soon as you feel like, oh, I got the most out of this mentor, now I need to find because my um, goals have changed. Don't feel shy to go and ask someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. As you grow, you may need to engage with different people with different experience that can help you through those different stages. Yeah. You mentioned also, well, really just like looking for that mentor. There's a few ways that I've had success with that because it is so important to have a mentor and like have someone to look up to,
Mhm.
like that representation for like women in tech and underrepresented voices is really
Yes.
important. But like finding that person can be really hard. But what's
Yes.
for me is like networking events, conferences, even like community events like meetups, things like that. Just like naturally engaging in the community. Like, yes, there's a lot of tech skills to learn, and we're going to get a lot of value from tech skills through that kind of networking. But also, there's the other skills, like just navigating the career ladders and things like that. And once you engage with like real people, a lot of us are working remote, so it can be kind of challenging. But if you get out there in the community, go to events,
Yes.
it's helpful.
That is correct. There are so many groups over here. There are so many technical collaboration going on, and not technical,
Yeah.
maybe women in women collaboration. There are so many local meetups. Try to make some time for yourself because it's going to benefit you in a long run, where you meet like-minded people. They might guide you, they might impress you. It's just that you have to step out, be
Yeah.
in your uncomfortable zone. So
Yes.
it's all about how you want to navigate yourself.
Absolutely. You got to push those boundaries. Amazing. Well,
Yes.
let's switch into some technical content
Mm-hmm.
here. I want to talk a little bit about just the challenges of Gen AI. It sounds like you're working on, sorry, my phone. It sounds like you're working on really building some great Gen AI systems at ADP. I'd love to hear a little bit about the kind of technical challenges you faced in projects. And if you can't share exactly about ADP, maybe more generally throughout your career, kind of the biggest
Yeah.
challenges you've seen with these projects and lessons learned that you can share with us.
Yeah. So one major challenge is balancing innovation with the responsibilities. There are so many innovations that are going on. So one thing you have to make sure what you're responsible for, you're balancing that. The pace of Gen AI can tempt team to prioritize novelties over robustness.
Yes, they
For
can.
example,
It's because it's so
something you
exciting.
might,
It's easy. Yeah.
yes, somewhere you might feel like, oh, this is something new, let me implement in my project. But then you have to start thinking, does it matter? How important it is? So that is where these challenges are, where you have to have a fight with yourself on to come up with the right decision. So I have learned the importance of governance framework, clear success metrics, and interdisciplinary input to ensure we are solving real problems with sustainable solution. And this is not related to just Gen AI. It's related to every project. As a leader, we have to make sure that we solve the real problems. There are so many things out going on in the world which you might be tempted to, but then you have to think, does it matter to me? Is it going to provide me success? Is it going to impact the product? So,
Yeah.
and of course, to the company that you are working for.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen this a lot as well throughout my career. There's just so many exciting like new technologies, or maybe we're just personally very interested in learning a new tool. And it's so easy to just want to tunnel vision kind of focus on that. But it's important to step back and think about what is the goal of the project? Is it adding value
Mhm.
to the project? And the best way to do that is like you're saying, we have to have the right metrics to measure like the ROI, the business impact. And those are the teams that really deliver well, the ones that have those curious folks, like you're saying, that want to go
Mhm.
study these technologies, but also have the discipline and the like self-awareness to apply it properly in the business setting. It's
Mhm.
difficult. It's a challenging balance there, but also an exciting place to be.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Well, another technical question I have for you is around observability. I've put a lot of models into production, both like the old tabular machine learning models and some Gen AI ones. And in terms of just like monitoring and tracking the model performance, I've seen like a lot of interesting trends. I've seen sometimes observability or monitoring would be like an afterthought. Sometimes there's teams that are way ahead of the curve and thinking about best practices, but it's a personal best practice that I've adopted is like very critical in generative AI. I'm curious if you have
Mhm.
any kind of like software engineering best practices or maybe data science best practices, or if you've worked with observability specifically, if that's one of yours. I'm curious kind of those guiding principles you think about when you're building an AI system.
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. And it is really important right now that all of the companies over there who are attracted towards AI actually starts practicing them in parallel when they're implementing it. So observability is critical because AI models don't have predictably. So from day one, we integrate observability to track model performance, outputs, and usage patterns. So it's all, how you develop the models. Are you tracking whether it's performing or it's giving the output how you aim to? So we pair this with practices like human in the loop evaluation. Of course, it has to be there. So AI is not replacing human. It is just
Mhm.
helping human over there. So there always needs to be human in the loop evaluation. Bias testing should be there.
Yeah,
Robots documentation to ensure that our solution remains trustworthy and impactful. So all of these governance board, when implemented, it really helps. And this is how the team should integrate it from the very start.
absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned like the kind of the bias testing and the human in the loop. Those are very key um,
Yes.
to the kind of Gen AI infrastructure there. The human in the loop is really interesting. You mentioned like AI is not replacing humans. I agree with that. Do you see
Yes.
that changing anytime in the future, or do you think we'll really have more of like an AI plus human kind of augmented workforce? What do you think that looks like?
It is how I'm visioning right now as well,
Yeah.
that it would be like AI plus human, because if you look how the AI is generating the data, there are humans who are building those models. There are humans who are training those models. So of course there has to be humans who actually test and observe whether whatever models they have developed, are they working properly? Are they giving the proper feedback? So this is how the future looks like to me.
I agree. I agree. Maybe that'll change with new technology, but with the current
Yes.
technology that we're looking at, I think the human in the loop is a very critical part of like
Yes.
working AI systems. There might be a few little things we can automate, but generally on like a
Mhm.
larger scale, within like teams like yours, I think it'll be a mix of both. Okay, so next question here. This is a challenging one that I struggle with all the time. How do
Mhm.
you balance innovation and
Mhm.
reliability? So really like balancing, like pushing the boundaries of Gen AI innovation. You want to create something new, but you also need to deliver something reliable and accountable in a business setting. How do you think about that?
So it's all about smart risk taking. Now,
Mm,
of course, it's a risk, but I address it as smart risk taking. So we sandbox the innovation, test it thoroughly before scaling. So I encourage the team to innovate boldly, but also to design for the fallback strategies. There should be ethical boundaries and there should be user trust as well on what we are developing. So reliability isn't a trade-off; it's a requirement for the GenAI to deliver lasting values. So
yes.
this is what I feel like, how to balance innovation and reliability.
Okay, okay, fantastic. Um, Not a trade-off, but definitely a requirement. I like that a lot. Great. Well, tell me about your ideal Gen AI tech stack. There's a lot of different tools out there in the industry right now, and I think it can be somewhat overwhelming for folks to really pick the right tools to use when they're
Mhm.
developing Gen AI. Do you have any favorite tools, or do you have like an ideal Gen AI tech stack or platform that you prefer?
So I really don't have any favorite tool because I believe on the foundation of it. So for me, an ideal GenAI stack includes foundational models, vector databases, orchestration frameworks, robots, MLOps, pipelines, and strong security layers. So security layers. So if these basic foundation are really good, that is how you can leverage to any tools which is available over there. So stack is only as good as the discipline around it. Clear governance, modularity, continuous evaluation, and a commitment to responsible AI are the cornerstones. If the tool is taking care of this, it can be a favorite tool. But if you're using any tool, you should pay attention to if all of these fundamentals are covered in it.
That's good. So you have your benchmark that's really kind of guiding your tooling decision there. Fantastic.
Mhm.
Great. Well, jumping back to your team, you mentioned when we met earlier, you mentioned you're leading a global team. It sounds like you're distributed across time zones. I've been in that situation
Yes,
too. It's difficult and challenging to work across time zones, but it's also really fun because you meet different people from different cultures and you just learn a lot. But for
yes.
us remote folks that are also in the same position, What are your kind of tips and strategies for leading a distributed team like that? Once you have the team working across time zones, I think there's some challenges that come up, and I'm curious how you approach it.
Yes, that's a really challenging part and something that is more important when you are a leader. So intentional communication is the key for me. So we set clear expectation, share async updates, and use collaborative tools to maintain momentum. I feel like time zone shouldn't matter. If you have all of these clear expectations set, if you all work on the same framework, you're collaborating on a timely manner. And apart from that, I also make space for cultural exchange and personal connections. Have a space where they talk, they feel like they are part of one team, and it helps build the trust and
Yeah.
cohesive across the time zones. Have team meetings monthly, put some frameworks on how the team should collaborate, not each individual connect with the other team. Have leaders who sync up on regular basis,
Yeah.
make sure that they follow that pattern, and it's all about the collaboration that I feel like.
Absolutely, absolutely. You mentioned those collaboration tools. Like I love Slack. It really helps my team
Yes.
communicate quite a bit. That's awesome. Well, great. Last question I have for you as we're wrapping up here. I would love
Mm-hmm.
to hear what advice you might have for the next generation, maybe women, underrepresented groups who are moving into tech or maybe want to move into tech and are afraid to make that leap. This really, the next generation is graduating as well as probably facing a lot of challenges just in terms of choosing their career. But I'd love to hear if you
Mm-hmm.
have any advice for people like that are trying to move into tech or AI.
Yes. That's a really nice question, and I would also like to hear what other leaders say about this. But my advice for the next generation, it's both for the young and the one who are leaders itself. So don't wait for permission.
Hmm.
Take up space. Your perspective is valuable. Your questions are powerful, and your voice is needed. Surround yourself with people who support your growth. And remember, leadership isn't about knowing everything, it's about bringing others along with you. So that is what I feel like. For my success, my team should also be successful, and I need to mentor them. So I give them this advice. Speak up. You don't need to wait
Absolutely.
for my permission. Yes. Sometimes somewhere somebody will be there who will listen to you and where you will be valued. So keep on speaking, keep on speaking, keep on sharing your ideas, and just surround with people who actually values your growth. So this is what advice I want to give for the next generation.
That's fantastic. That resonates with me. Thank you for saying that.
Hmm.
Yeah, just making sure we speak up, even if we feel like, oh, it's a silly question. Like, I guarantee someone else has the same question. Or if you feel like the insight that you have is not valuable, I guarantee it probably is, especially if it's coming from somebody who has a slightly different
Hmm.
background. They have a different perspective. It can be very valuable. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you talking us through all this. I learned a lot. I think our
Hmm.
audience will as well. I appreciate you having on the show.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was so nice talking to you.
You as well.
Bye.